Welcome back, guys. It's Doyennix here, and I know it's been a month since episode 3. I know y'all missed me, but don't worry, I'm back. Today, all seriousness, I want to talk about Pepsi Co. Before I start, I want to say the reason why I'm doing these types of videos is just to show you that there's other type of investors than just people who just day trade, or people who just buy stocks for now, sell in a year, or buy stocks now, sell in a couple of months. I'm more an investor who is trying not to sell a stock until I'm an old fart. I don't really want to sell stocks at all, really. And I just want to buy quality stocks that I can keep and don't have to keep checking my account for, Like, it's just there, and that's it. I just buy more, or not really sell, but I buy more when I see the deal, or I don't know, just sit back, and collect. So if you're trying to day trade and stuff like that, I don't think I'm really the person for you. I'm more the person for people who just want to sit back, buy a stock, and not really have to worry. The stocks that I'm talking about aren't really stocks that they're not stocks where I just buy and just hold. I'm just doing this with every stock just to give you guys, show you, just talk about stocks so you guys can understand like what type of research you could, or maybe you could add on, or maybe you could comment below and I could also learn from you about, maybe I should add this in to when I research a stock, or maybe I should do this when I'm researching the stock. And that's basically, I just want to show you guys how to research. I just learned this year, and I'm still learning more and more and more as I go on. And so I want to spread what I learned over to whoever wants to listen. So I'm talking about Pepsi Co. I'm not trying to get you guys to buy any stocks I'm talking about. I'm just picking stocks at random. That's it. Just picking stocks at random. I'm not really trying to convince or coerce or anything like that. All these stocks just pick, out of, mainly because they're more known, I don't want to start with stocks that are, like, not well known as much. And I just want to say, I'm not a financial advisor. Please do not take any stock that I am talking about in any episode that those are a good buy. I'm just talking about stocks just to talk about stocks. I just like stocks. I like to talk. So I'm just going to sit here and talk your ear off about all these stocks. I'm not trying to say, hey, look, I picked this stock and that's a good one to buy. Nope. All these stocks are just neutral. Most of them I don't own. I'm just here to talk about stocks. Just to talk. So I like stocks and I like to talk. So this is also a learning lesson for me, so I can learn how to research stocks. I can look back, learn what I did wrong back then, how I can improve, and all that stuff. So today I picked Pepsi Co. And also when I talk, please take everything I say with a grain of salt, or 50%. Do your research yourself just to check it out, because I could be wrong. Most likely not, but I could be wrong. So please. And if you find anything interesting, just go and just tell somebody about it. Like, hey, look, I learned this today about Pepsi Co. or Macy's or GE or any of the Spotify, any of the old stocks I talked about. So let's get started. Tell you talking about Pepsi Co. Pepsi was invented in 1898. 1898. It was created by Caleb D. Bradham. Caleb D. Bradham was a pharmacist in North Carolina. And that's one thing I learned too, that most of these drinks was made by pharmacists. I didn't think that at first. I thought going into here it was just made by somebody who wanted to make juice or something, I didn't think a pharmacist was making most of these sodas, So that was a pretty interesting thing I learned about. And I believe, don't quote me on it, but Pepsi was the third soda made. I think it was Dr. Pepper, then Coca-Cola, then it was Pepsi. Don't quote me on it. As I said, take me with 50% on a grain of salt. The original formula for Pepsi contained sugar, water, caramel, lemon oil, cola nuts, nutmeg, and other additives. Abraham planned to create a soft drink. The reason why Pepsi was first created was that Abraham planned to create a soft drink that could help people with digestion issues, boost their energy, while also being appealing enough to be a fountain drink. Fun fact, did you know Pepsi was originally called Brad's Drink? Yes, it was called Brad's Drink. In 1893, that's when the formula was created of Pepsi. But at that time, it was called Brad's Drink. Then in 1898, did I say that right? Yeah, in 1893, that's when the formula was created. And it was called Brad's Drink at that time. But in 1894, it was renamed to Pepsi Cola. 1890, I feel like I'm saying the dates wrong. In 1898, it was renamed to Pepsi Cola. Okay, next part, let's go. I just want to tell you guys a little bit about Pepsi. Pepsi Co. The company was founded in New Bern, North Carolina in 1965. Khalid Ibrahim was the first president of Pepsi in 1902. Pepsi, the company, was created due to the high demand of the Pepsi Cola syrup. So, once, his drink just took off and, he had created a business for it. Now I'll get a little bit into the stock itself. So the price of Pepsi at the time that I was researching it, I forgot which day, but at the time, it was $143.99. The ticker symbol for Pepsi, when you want to search it up on, the stock market or any stock app you have or brokerage, it is PEP, PEP. The market cap for Pepsi is 198.9 billion at the time I wrote this down, which means, if you guys remember, that's a large market cap and very close to becoming a mega cap. So now I kind of want to get into the EPS, which is earnings per share. So let's start with the quarter 4 of 2019. Quarter 4 of 2019, the earnings per share was estimated to be $1.44, but they actually made $1.45. So they beat earnings by 1 cent. And that's one thing you want to look for too in a stock, is that they're actually beating their earnings and they're making a profit, and not just the company's actually growing and moving. Like, you just want to look at the EPS and just want to see, like, even if it's 1 cent or 0.1 cent, you just want to see that it's growing and it's not just staying stagnant or declining. You always want to make sure what you're invested into is growing. And that's the type of investor I am. I want to be in something that's growing, that's moving. I don't want to stay and, just get a stock that's going to, like Wall Street Trap, it says it's flirt with bankruptcy. That's not what you want to be in. You want to have something that grows, that becomes something. And if you guys never heard of Wall Street Trapper, go check him out. Okay, now for quarter 1 of 2020, the estimated EPS was $1.03, and the actual earnings was $1.07. So they beat earnings by 4 cents. That is good. That's stuff you want to see when you're, invest to a stock. I'm gonna keep repeating it because that's what I want. That's the type of investor I am. I want to make sure when I invest in something, I don't have to worry about it day by day. I don't want to be going in my phone and checking my stock account, making sure this is good, making sure that is good, selling here, selling there. No, I want to make sure my stock lasts until I'm an old fart. Actually, I want to make sure my stock lasts past I'm an old fart. I want my stocks to keep going. I don't want to sell. I just want to grow. Next quarter 2 of 2020, the estimated earnings was $1.25. The actual earnings was $1.32. So again, as you can see, Pepsi beat earnings by 7 cents, so that makes it 3 times consecutive of beating earnings. Again, that's stuff you just want to see. And then quarter 3 of 2020, the estimated earnings was 49 cents, and the actual earnings was, the estimated earnings for quarter 3 was $1.49, and the actual earnings per share was $1.66, and that makes it 4 times beating its EPS within a year now. That's stuff you want to see. And if you guys are wondering about the next quarter, like quarter 4 for 2020, that will be announced on February 11th. You should get, that's when the earnings should be announced, and you guys can see how Pepsi did for the last quarter of 2020, and I'm hoping they beat it. Like, these are stuff you want to see. I'm not trying to be biased to Pepsi. I'm not trying to get you guys to buy it. I'm just wanting to let you guys know these are types of things you want to see when you're buying a stock. Now let's talk about dividends. Dividends is something you want to love, because there's 2 ways you can go about it. You can use dividends. You can always use dividends to increase your pockets. So dividends is basically this money you get every quarter, 4 times a year. You get it 3 times a year. You get it biannually, which is 2 times a year, or annually, which is 1 time a year. You get your dividend. Each company has its own stuff, so you just gotta look at the company to see how their dividends are paid. And so dividends, you can use them as drip. Certain brokerages do drip, which is dividend reinvestment program, I believe. And you could quote me on that one. But by doing drip, basically, like, say if I have a stock of Doyennix, right, and he pays, and I pay about $4 a year, you can either choose to pocket the $4, or you can choose where a drip is. You basically choose to, you don't get the money, but it goes right back into the stock. So now you have $4 more into the stock, and you just keep dripping down every year, every quarter, however it is, all the way till you can, all the way till whenever you want to stop it. So that's stuff you want to think about. Do you want to have it drip, or do you want to have your stock give you money? Like, some people could, like, as I said, 2 ways for dividends is you could do a drip, where your stock just keeps buying itself back at, not like the entire stock, but it buys it back for dollars, keeps adding dollars till it can buy itself. Or you can do just live off their dividends. Like, some people actually make a life and they just live off dividends. You don't have to work. You just, like, you work your butt off. You buy as much different types of dividend stocks to make stable, consecutive, and good companies, so that you can just live off of it. Like, they pay you for owning a share, and you just live off of it. You don't gotta work. So that's another way. If you start young, or even now, invest. Smart decisions, not dumb decisions. Very smart. And you could live really below your means. You could probably live off dividends alone. Like, I heard some people make $1,000 a month off of it. I'm not sure how much they invested, but some people was making $1,000 off of dividends. But that's a lot of work, and planning to do. So make sure, there are different ways you can just do stocks, and all these are ways of just having a stock for long term. Instead of just trying to get the quick cash grab, you can probably just live off your stock. Like, I don't think people really realize that, but you can live off your stock. If you don't work, your stock is working for you. As long as you pick the safe one that is gonna maintain itself and pay you and not go out, pretty much okay. Now let's get into the dividends for Pepsi. So I'm gonna start with 2019. In November 14, 2019, Pepsi announces dividends, and on January 7th, that's when, if you had the stock, you was paid, and you was paid 95 cents, which is really good for a stock to get back in the dividends. Like if you guys remember from the last episode 3, from Wendy's, you only got paid 5 cents. But also Wendy's was a lot cheaper. Wendy's was only like $23 at that time, while Pepsi's $144 right now. But you get to see, and that's good. So it's 95 cents per share. I mean per quarter for one share. Yeah, per quarter for one share. Because Pepsi pays you four times a year, and Pepsi pays you four times a year, and you basically, okay, let me start. Okay, November 14, 2019, they announced it. January 7th, 2020, they paid every person who had their share, like each share they had, they paid you guys 95 cents per share for that quarter. February 11th, 2020, it was announced again for the dividend. And on March 31st, you was paid 95 cents again. So just for that 1 year, you got paid 95 cents. 95 cents. Then for quarter 3. The next one, it was announced on May 5th, 2020. And on June 30th, you was paid $1.02. On July 15th, 2020, it was announced, and on September 30th, you was paid $1.02. Then the next one would be November 19th was when it was announced, and you should get paid on January 7th, 2021. And it should be $1.02. And this is things you want to look for, like stocks that constantly pay you their dividends, and also increases over time, because you're only making more money back. And some stocks during this year, they cut off their dividends and say, we're not going to pay, like they did this cut for the time being. But Pepsi maintained it, that's really great on them. And if you had a share throughout this time, that was really good. And dividends is only increasing. So yeah, Pepsi's doing good right now. Now let's talk about the income statements of Pepsi. But before I get to there, I just gotta say one thing. Fun fact. Okay, Pepsi Cola gets its name from, I think I'm gonna mess this word up, but dispepsia, which is known as indigestion. So that's why when I say when Pepsi got its name, like when it was first created, it was to help people who had digestion issues. That's where the word Pepsi comes from, dispepsia, which is also known as indigestion. And the cola is from the way it tastes. So you take the DYS out of dispepsia and combine it with cola, and you get Pepsi Cola. Now back to the income. 2019. Oh, never mind. Let me start with 2016. 2016. The total revenue for Pepsi, well, PepsiCo, the total revenue for PepsiCo was $62 billion and 799 million. That's a lot of. That's pretty good. And all of these information that I said here, I mainly got it from the NASDAQ or Yahoo Finance, or just on Pepsi.com. So if you guys want to just check it out, or just to figure out what I'm talking about, you guys can go on Yahoo Finance. Just go on Google, you type in Yahoo Finance, you click on it, and then it's gonna show like a little bar and stuff, and you just type in PEP which is a tick symbol. It's gonna show you Pepsi. Click on it, and then it's gonna show you all these things. You don't gotta get confused and stuff with it, because it was hard for me at first. And then you just go to, it should be like another little tab underneath the bar that says like financial holders, stuff like that. Just go to financials and look at their annual income statement. Like, all this information is out here for us to see. So you might as well just take advantage of it so you can understand what and who you're invested into. Because for me, I don't want to invest in stuff that I don't really support or I don't like. If I invest into a stock, it's because I like what they're doing, where they're going, and what they have done. I don't just invest just to make a quick buck. I invest for like, if I like it, like, I don't want to invest in something I don't believe in. So if you guys want to check it out, go on Yahoo Finance. If you want to see the dividend history, just go on Google, just type in Pepsi's dividends, and it's just a couple sites will show up. I believe the NASDAQ is what I use, and you can see different dates, the dates that they paid from now till probably when it first started, or when they first started doing dividends. I didn't go that far back. I just went to the recent ones that I announced. And you can see the total income, you can see how much debt they have on Yahoo Finance, you can see a lot of stuff. You can see who are the majority shareholders of the company. You can see who has the most shares. You can see, and some of these companies or corporations or LLCs or banks, they own millions or billions of shares. And you can see who has the most shares, who has all these things. So you can just look at it and understand who is buying into it, who is true supporting this company. Other companies have majority shares, or are most shares held within the company. You can see all these things on Yahoo Finance. So I encourage you guys to go on there, just play around. If it's a little hard at first, I say just go on YouTube and learn about it. Like, it's really good. Now, just to continue with the income statement. For 2016, the total revenue was $62,799,000,000. The cost of revenue was $28,209,000,000. The gross profit, which is the profit that they made off of it, was $34,590,000,000. And for operating expense, it was $24,805,000,000. Before I really continue more into the income, I just want to say this quick. The total revenue is just the income. It's just the total income that the company made for that year. The cost of income is the total cost of creating or delivering the products or service. Yeah, the total cost. Yeah, basically that. The gross profit is basically the profit the company has made after all expenses are paid and accounted for. An operating expense is the expense that comes from the normal business expenses. So like the business has to pay this or that. That's where the operating expenses come from. 2017, the total revenue was $63,535,000,000. The cost of revenue was $28,229,000,000. Gross profit was $34,740,000,000. And then for operating expense was $24,231,000,000. So as you can see, they increased their total revenue by around $1 billion. Actually, yeah, around $1 billion. A little bit over $1 billion. Their operating expense, the cost of revenue actually stayed the same, which is really good. Like, you kind of, like, when you're like increasing the money, you kind of want to keep the excuse me, when you're increasing in money, when you're increasing income, you want to make sure that your expenses either stay the same or get lower, so then you can profit more. And that's what they basically did. And then the gross profit, it increased by a little bit less than 200 million, which is a lot of money, but that's really good still. You just want to see that they're growing. And then their operating expenses, that did increase by no, actually the operating expenses decreased. I'm sorry, the operating expense decreased because it was 24,805,000,000, and it decreased to 24,231,000,000. So that's another good thing you want to see, because that decreased by 600, around 500 million, that's a lot too. That's really good. They cut down on that. That's other stuff you want to see. So now let's get into 2018. In 2018, the total revenue was 64,661,000,000. The cost of revenue was 29 billion. The gross profit was 35 billion, and the operating expenses was 25 billion. As you can see, the cost of revenue increased again by a billion. The total revenue increased by a billion, which is great to see that it's increasing. Each year it increased. The cost of revenue actually also increased from 28 billion to 29 billion. You kind of want to keep it lower, but it didn't increase by too much, so it's all right. And then the gross profit was 35 billion, which is awesome to see, because although the cost of revenue increased, you can see that the gross profit increased, because 2017, 2016, the gross profit was 34 billion. Now it's 35, which is amazing to also see. And the operating expense was 25 billion, and from the previous years, which was 24. So you can see that basically everything increased by either a billion or a little bit more. No, actually, everything increased by a bill. So it's good, because although their expenses increased and their revenue increased, they still also increased in profit. So that's good to see. Now for 2019, the total revenue was 67 billion. So unlike the past years, it would only increase by one. This time in 2019, they increased it by 3 billion, which is good. I like that. While the cost of revenue also increased from 29 billion, it increased to 30 billion. Although, it still maintained what it was doing for the past 2 years, just increasing by 1. But it's still good to see that they also increased the total revenue by a lot also. The gross profit went from 35 billion to 37 billion, which is amazing to see, because each year they was only increasing by 1 billion. Now they increased by 2. And then the operating expenses increased from 25 billion in 2018 to 26 billion in 2019. If you look at everything, there's a pattern. All the expenses increased by 1 billion each year. So over the past 4 years, they increased. Actually, the past 4 years only increased by 2 billion. That's it. For the past 2 years, all expenses increased by, past 4 years, all expenses increased by 2 billion. And then all of the revenue increased by 5 billion. And then the gross profit increased by 3 billion in the past 4 years. So it's good to see that their revenue and profit increase more than the expenses. So that's a good thing you want to see too. So that's one of the reasons why you want to check like the income statements, and just to really understand how the company is functioning and stuff. So you guys kind of want to know like how the company is making money and understand the company. Like maybe a company like I have to research it again, but I read about this and heard about it. Sears was making money. Like you go to Sears and you're thinking, oh yeah, they're making money from just selling things. But when I read this article, basically it was saying, not article, but this little passage, it says Sears actually made more money from the credit cards rather than their items that they're selling. So it made you think, do we really understand how the company we're supporting actually makes money? Remember, take this as a grain of salt at 50%. I am just a 21-year-old talking to you guys in a parking lot about stocks. So take what I say with a grain of salt and at 50%. But it's something I just remembered off the top of my head and from a passage I read. So it made me think, do we really understand how the company we support is making money? I think we should always, understand, because they're public, so they tell us how their money coming from, where it comes from, and we should understand it. We shouldn't just blindly support something you don't understand, because you need to know this, so in case anything happens, you know how to maneuver with the stock if you're gonna sell it, or like Pepsi, like they actually made a lot more money this year because a lot of people got to stay home and buy stuff to eat. And Pepsi, I'll wait till I get to the brands Pepsi owns. But you got to see, like they have a lot of brands underneath their belt. So a lot of people was just buying a lot of Pepsi products. And so you had to eat. And Pepsi owns majority of the snacks. So how Pepsi makes money? A key thing to always know, or at least understand, is how does your company that you want to invest into gets its money. This is important because if any good or bad news comes out about the business that you want to invest into, you need to understand how it would affect you. Like basically when I say affect you, it basically affect the stock and how you're going to maneuver. Plus you own the stock, so you're basically a shareholder into the company. You're owner. So you got to understand how the money works in there, and you got to understand how any news that comes out affects you, because that's your own. You own that company, not like to the extent like a CEO or like people who own billions of shares, but you own a piece of that company. So take pride in it and just use it. You just gotta know. You're the owner and you're gonna be affected. You own, like if you own a Pepsi stock, you're a shareholder and a owner of Pepsi. Now, when it comes to Pepsi, 53% of its revenue comes from the food products, and 47% of its revenue comes from the beverages. And that's just to let you guys know. And if you guys just thought Pepsi was just, the drink and a couple of drinks, you're far wrong from that. Pepsi owns a lot. And this shows it, because I thought the beverages would have been higher, but actually the food that Pepsi sells is even more. Inside the company, I want to talk a little bit about the inside of it to get you guys to understand, like, if you want to invest into this, these are things that I thought, you should know. Let's get serious. Pepsi current headquarters is in New York. Pepsi has about 267,000 employed workers worldwide. The five major brands that are under PepsiCo are Frito-Lay, Pepsi Cola, Gatorade, Quaker, and Tropicana. So these are products that Pepsi, has under them and they sell and help distribute. The products offered by brands offered by Pepsi are 90 plus brands that Pepsi has under its belt, and they serve customers in over 200 countries. So Pepsi is in over 200 countries, and they have over 90 brands under their belt. That's insane. A lot of the brands, I thought they was their own thing. No, Pepsi owns a good portion of them. Raymond, I'm sorry if I mess up your name. Lagretta is the CEO and chairman of Pepsi. Hugh Johnson is the CFO and executive vice president of Pepsi. 0.14% of shares are held by all insiders. 73% of shares are held by other institutions. That 73% of other institutions is all those institutions. Like once you add like all the different institutions that owns them, it's about 3,164 different institutions that hold shares of that is holding PepsiCo shares. So 3,000 of those different institutions make up that 73% of who owns the shares of Pepsi. So I want to say the top 3 institutions holding the Pepsi shares are Vanguard Group Incorporated, BlackRock Incorporated, and State Street Corporation. So these are the top 3 incorporations that own majority of the Pepsi shares. The top 3 mutual funds that are holding Pepsi shares are Vanguard Total Stock Market Index Fund, Vanguard 500 Index Fund, and Invesco ETF TR Invesco QQQ TR Series 1 ETF. That is the top 3 mutual funds that are currently have the most Pepsi shares within them. Fun fact: Pepsi was the first company to introduce the 2-liter bottle. The 2-liter bottle was invented in 1970 by Nathaniel. I'm sorry if I say your name wrong, but Weth. I'm gonna say Weth. And again, please, if anything I said sounds interesting or you didn't know, just tell somebody. Like, hey, look, I learned this about Pepsi. I bet they didn't know Pepsi has over 90 brands. And if you want to count the brands, just go to PepsiCo.com and go to, I believe it was About, and you could just see their brands, and it's just over 90 brands. I did not think that. I did not know that. And they're actually legit brands that we all know. Okay, so now I want to talk about the debts and assets. This is another thing you really want to understand when you're investing into a company, is that you got to understand like what you're getting yourself into. Is this company threatened with bankruptcy, like Wall Street Trump said? Like, is it too much? Is the debt outweighing their assets, or are the assets outweighing debts? So for Pepsi, the total assets is $78 billion. Total liabilities is $63 billion. And again, liabilities are basically debt and stuff that is costing them. So, in that case, they're positive. They have more assets than liabilities. Now let's get to the current assets and current liabilities. Current just basically means things that are due within a year. So, current assets is $17 billion, and their current liabilities is $20 billion. So you can see there, within their current debt and assets ratio, they are about negative $3 billion. But they still have, their total assets still outweighs their total liabilities. But within the current, which is like debt owed or assets that they have that they can use within a year, their current debt outweighs their current liabilities. Fun fact, I know you guys are enjoying these. PepsiCo own brands like Tropicana, Quaker's Food, Mountain Dew, Lay's, Gatorade, 7-Up, Doritos, Brisk, Cheetos, and Ruffles. Those are just 10 out of the 90 brands, over 90 brands that Pepsi owns. The goals of Pepsi, it's not a thing you also want to look for, like what type of goal or objective or statements, like what are these things that do your company have these things, and what are they? Do they make sense? You just gotta, like for me, I'm not going pretty deep, but I like to really understand what I'm really investing to. Because I'm an owner. I want to take pride in owning this company. If I own a stock, I'm going to say, hey, look, I own this. Like Apple. I have an Apple phone. I can say I own an Apple stock. I didn't research Apple. I should. But I have an Apple phone, so I own Apple. I don't want to sit there and just be a consumer. I'm buying my own product. I own Apple, not to the same extent as the CEOs and stuff like that, but I own Apple and I'm supporting myself. So take pride in it. You, like, if you wear Adidas, Jordans, a Nike, buy their shares. If you use Spotify, Google, YouTube, buy the shares. Don't just be a consumer where you just taking a product. Also be the person who's giving out. Be the shareholder. Like, you don't have to be the CEO. You don't got to be the boss. You don't got to be the shareholder. Take part. Just buy a bunch of pieces to each company. They're literally allowing you guys to buy out their shares. Buy it. Own it. They're all assets. As long as you do your research and you know what you're getting yourself into, and you can understand the situation that your company is currently in and how it could get out. Because if you understand your company and say something crazy happens, you can understand and do the math in your head, or just use your own knowledge about the company to see if they could get out, or your knowledge of the CEO, and see if he's able to get that company out of that current situation and bring them somewhere better by the end of it. So that's why you gotta research, so when things like this happen, you don't just panic and sell. Because maybe you might panic and sell, then the next week the stock just blows up even higher. And that happened to me. But I'm gonna say that for another episode. So the goals of PepsiCo. The goal is to maintain a long-term and sustainable growth while leaving a positive imprint on society and the environment. And as you can see, they have been being a sustainable growth with their the dividends. I'll agree to that one. Can't wait till I buy me a Pepsi. Or am I? Dun, dun, dun. So, when you go to PepsiCo.com and you go to their sustainability tab, you'll see in the 2019 report, you just click on that. You go to the goals and progress. There you'll find this information that I'm about to talk about. So the focus area is agriculture. The goal, advance environmental, social, and economics benefits communities. What am I doing? The goal is advance environmental, social, economics benefits communities around the world. What they're going to do is achieve 100% sustainability, source potatoes, whole grains, oats, and oranges. And as of 2018, they was 51%. They managed to make 51%, and in 2019, they nearly hit 80%. The next focus area is water. Their goal is to drive water security and contribute to communities. What they're going to do is replenish. Oh man, you guys ever get stuck on the word? Replenish 100% of the water they use in their manufacturing and operations in high water risk areas by 2025. So by 2025, they kind of want to just replace all the water that they use in the high water risk areas. In 2018, they managed to do 8%, and in 2019, they managed 10%. The next focus area, packaging. Their goal is to fundamentally change how the world interacts with their own packaging and to deliver and where plastic never needs to be a waste. That's their goal for packaging. What they're going to do is increase recycle containment in their plastic packaging to 25% by 2025. And as of 2018, they managed to do 3%. And by 2019, they managed 4%. So these are stuff you want to look for. Like, you want to see where your company's going, what are they doing, why are they doing it, and it is something you want to be a part of. Next focus area is products. Pepsi wants to their goal is to reduce added sugars, sodium, and saturated fats. This goal, what they're going to do right now, what they want to do right here is to reduce the added sugars by 60. No, they want to reduce added sugars of 60% of the beverages portfolio, and they want to reduce the added sugars. 67% of the beverages would have less than 100 calories from added sugar per 12 ounce. I'm sorry, I messed up so bad. Reduce added sugars. 67% of beverages portfolio will have less than 100 calories from added sugar per 12 ounce. And as of 2018, they did 44%, and as of 2019, they managed 47%. It is good just to see that they're increasing in these areas. There's more goals. I mean, there's more. Yeah, for some of them, there's more goals, and also there's more ways of how they want to hit each goal. I just picked one out of the couple that they had for each one. So there's more there's more goals and stuff there that's out there. I just chose to take one of each. And again, if you guys want to check, just go to PepsiCo.com, go to their sustainability tab, click on goals and progress, and then there you can find the information for 2019. This is as of 2019 though. The next focus area is climate. They want to do their part to. The next goal is next focus area is climate. The goals is to do their part to curb the climate change by reducing the greenhouse gas emission from their value chain. How they go about it is to the total emissions. They want to reduce absolute greenhouse gas at least by 20%. So they want to decrease the greenhouse gas that they generate by 20% by 2030. As of 2018, they did 3% of that, and as of 2019, they did 6%. The next focus area is people, and the goal is prosperity and increase the earning potential of women. So Pepsi they want to invest $100 million by 2025 to 12.5 million women with essential resources for the workplace. By 2018, Pepsi raised about 27.3 million. By 2019, Pepsi raised about 38.5 million. When you add them up, it equals to 66 million. When you minus that 66 from the 100, it's left with 34 million. So they have basically from 2020 to 2025 to add another 34 million to there, and as so far I see, I think they're going to hit that goal. Fun fact, did you know the CEO of both Pepsi and Frito-Lay saw what they had and combined their voices like Batman, Superman, or Goku and Vegeta, which gave birth to the Ultimate Fusion in 1965, known as PepsiCo. So Pepsi was first, the company was first called Pepsi. That's when Khalid Baham was, the owner and stuff. Then later on, when the CEO was switched, he saw, and also the CEO of Frito-Lay, they saw the opportunity. Like, hey, you sell the drinks, I sell the food. Why not work together and make this business a fusion and dominate the game? And that's what they've been doing ever since. They still kind of compete with Coke, but for most part, they dominate the game, and the competitive is Coca-Cola, and So that's how I got the name PepsiCo. So PepsiCo was founded. I don't want to confuse the guys, but PepsiCo was founded in 1965, while Pepsi, the company, I forgot the exact date, but I think it's around 1902, around there, when the company of Pepsi was made it, to sell the drinks. But PepsiCo is the fusion of Frito-Lay and Pepsi. In 1923, Pepsi went bankrupt. And then again in 1931, Pepsi went bankrupt again. And this was largely from financial losses from the wildly changing prices of sugar. Because the price of sugar was going up and up or down and down. It's all over the place. They couldn't keep up, to manufacture with them. And so that's caused them a big hit. Pepsi survived and flourished almost was bankrupt. The reason why they flourished and survived was because Pepsi had the 12-ounce bottle, and they sold it for 5 cents. And because of this, they also created a jingle. It was called the Nickel Nickel jingle, and it was broadcasted from coast to coast. And because of this jingle, it saved Pepsi from going bankrupt, because it brought in a lot of customers, and they was buying up the Pepsi, and the jingle is the Nickel Nickel jingle, and it was a very effective ad that saved them from going bankrupt. Another thing I want to ask you guys: do you guys really know what how when you guys see Pepsi Cola or Coca Colas, you guys ever wonder why they both have cola at the end of it? Well, I did, and so I looked it up. I thought they was the same thing, or one copy the other. But cola is basically a sweetened, carbonated soft drink flavored with vanilla, cinnamon, with citrus oils and other flavorings. So it's basically just a soft drink that's carbonated, and that is flavored with vanilla, and then Pepsi and Cola just combined their formulas with that. And I was like, oh, that's what cola is. I thought cola was something they had. But you learn something new every day, right? So another thing that I want to talk to you guys about is, do you own a stock? For me, I would say yes, I do own a stock. Do you take ownership in owning your stock? For me, I just started to. If you guys really sit down and think, do you really take ownership that you own a stock? Are you proud that you own the stock? That's how I think when I buy my stocks. Not to say, oh yeah, I'm happy I bought this stock, but to say, hey, look, I own this. I am a owner of this company. Let's say Apple, as I said. I am owner of Apple. I'm happy. I have an Apple product, which is the phone. I like my phone. It could call, it could text, and I can play games. So I'm happy that I have my Apple phone. I don't really have too much issues with it, so I'm happy about it. I see a lot of people have the Apple. I believe Apple has the most user base for phones, and so take pride. You guys own it. Apple is. It hit a trillion. It was $1 trillion company. So you have to you're owner in it. I know you didn't start it up. I know you're not making billions of dollars off of the company, but you own it. You own a very small percentage, but you're still the owner of this company. And you gotta take pride in that you own it. You guys can't sit and just, yeah, I bought a stock, I'm gonna do this, yeah, it's whatever. You're owner. When you do the research and you really invest into a stock, like me right now, I'm saving up a couple dollars every week till I'm able to buy a stock that I want. And then when I'm able to buy it, I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna be happy that I'm an owner in it. You don't have to sit there and keep trying to buy and do this. You're an owner. Take pride in owning the stock. Be happy that you own it. Like, you can walk around and be like, hey, like, you can literally, like, if you invest in things that you like, excuse me, you'll change how you feel about each thing. Like, what if you own Adidas and you wear Adidas all day? I own my shoe. I own it because I bought it, but I own the company that makes it, that manufacture it. Take pride in it. I use my phone every day. I'm pretty sure everyone uses their phone every day. I own Apple. I'm happy I own it. Is your phone service AT&T or T-Mobile? Own it. You can own AT&T and T-Mobile. Make some money back. They give dividends. I'm not sure about T-Mobile, but I know AT&T gives you back their dividends. I didn't research T-Mobile yet. I didn't research AT&T, but I know AT&T gives the dividends. Have pride in it. You own it. If you use it, own it. Don't just be a consumer. Just sit there and just buy the products of a company. Own the company. If you go into the bar, own the brand of drink they like to drink. I think Hennessy has a stock. All these beer companies, they probably have the stock. Corona beer has a stock. Buy the stock and own it. Be an owner. Don't sit there and just be a consumer. Own it. If you're going to use it, own it. If you like it and you think that company gives you quality things, own it. That's something I want you guys to think about. All right, do you own a stock, and do you take ownership in owning that? And that's it. So stay tuned. Episode 5 is on the way. This was Doyennix, and see you guys.